Yo, what is up, people? And welcome once again to the Max Factor. The Max Factor is about one thing. It's about discovering your passion and then going after it with everything that you got. I'm one of those lucky people in the world that truly feels like they never had a job. And I'm sitting here with good friend, entrepreneur, individual here, Mr. Mike Luzio.
Yes, it's good to be here. Thank you, Brian, for having me.
So besides, you know, the obvious,
the glasses.
Right?
It's
the glasses, right? I know everybody's like looking. All these viewers, right? They're like downloading. They're like, I gotta download this.
Oh my God, they're brothers.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I gotta find out about it.
He couldn't get anyone but his brother to come on the podcast with him.
But no. Besides the obvious,
yes.
the glasses, right?
Yes.
So this entrepreneur thing, right? Like, I hear that you're involved with some pretty freaking outstanding companies.
Yes, yeah.
And individuals, like Super Coffee, I think.
Super Coffee. Super Coffee's great. Yeah, it's one of my investments, sure.
Yeah. So I don't know if everybody knows what Super Coffee is. Let's tell them what Super
look,
Coffee is.
Keto Super Coffee. I mean, you know, what we do at the company.
Wait a minute, are they paying us for this?
No, they're not.
This is
but
huge.
This is perfect
this
because
is
I'm an investor.
This is like, yes, and it's going to blow up their like $500 million thing.
It's
to like,
unbelievable.
it's gonna
Your
like
mom's
go
going to
through the roof
watch
now.
it. My mom's going to watch it, and they're all going to go buy Super Coffee.
They're going to be set.
No.
But seriously, it's like one of the most interesting stories.
Yeah. Like, so, you know, like you, Brian, right? I mean, I was an entrepreneur, built a company, bootstrapped a business, sold it, and had an excellent exit. It was big. It was a big exit, over $50 million. And then I decided, what was I going to do with the rest of my life? And I decided to form the LVE group, Luzio versus Everybody Group. And a facet of that company is going out and finding great companies that I really like, betting on the jockey, usually companies that are doing a little bit of revenue, right? Pre-revenue's tough. I like companies that are shown they can do some revenue. And I'm not talking about 20 million. I'm talking, 1 to 4 million. Makes me see that people like their product. I look at the jockey, like me and you. I mean, we bet on entrepreneurs all day long. You do when you're hiring your gym owners. At the end of the day, I found, I do this all the time, but Super Coffee, Keto Super Coffee is an investment I found. 3 athletes, right? Division I athletes. 1 played football at Georgetown, 1 played football at Colgate, and 1 played basketball at Philadelphia University. They were looking for a healthy alternative to Frappuccino because 400 calories, 80 grams of fat, and they didn't want hot coffee at 4 a.m. when they were doing their workouts. And here these boys, and I call them my boys because they're still 26, 25, and 24, started this company called Super Coffee and are absolutely crushing it right now. And I love it. And I love them, and they stand for it. And this is why I love them. This is what entrepreneurs will focus in on. I said to them after we forked over some capital and some cash for some equity in the business, I said, let's go have a beer. This was downtown Manhattan. They said, they've been there for 6 months. WeWork's a big investor in them, and they're in a WeWork building. They said, we don't know where any bars are. I'm like, I don't know if I trust you, but that's a great answer. These guys, all they do is work. They're young and they work. They have no girlfriends.
That's the truth.
They work 90 hours a week. It's great.
I'll tell you, when I was on the phone with them, when you introduced me to them, I was on the phone with them, and they're like, yeah, if you want, come, definitely, for sure. When you're in Manhattan, look us up. We'll work out together.
Yeah. They work out, drink Super Coffee, and sell Super Coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think that's what defines, in my opinion, great entrepreneurs, man. It is all about laser focus on the brand. I mean, when you look at Max Challenge, and look, I'm being completely honest. When I watch it just pop up all over New Jersey, look, it's such a good feeling for you. I know that. When it pops up and you see it everywhere, you're like, I know that guy. He's out there grinding, hustling. What's the number you're trying to get to? 322, is that right?
336.
336?
Yeah,
I said,
it's a lucky number.
He's grinding it out. I said, and I think we put a post on Instagram, or let me rephrase that. Dan put a post on Instagram the other day that said, people always ask me, you're a millionaire and you've had a successful exit. What are you still working for? I said, because work's my hobby. I love it, right? And you're out there grinding every day. And it's like, that's what you do when you're a successful entrepreneur, my opinion.
Definitely, 100%. So what advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out that wants to break out of the daily grind? You hear of all these advertisements, break out of the daily grind. You're going to be sitting on a beach, drinking Mai Tais and sipping whatever fancy drink you're sipping there.
Yeah. Here's what I'll tell them, Brian. 2004, when I was 27 years old, when I started my first company, IRG, and I had a very good job in Manhattan, making great money in sales. well into six figures, and could have done that forever. And knew that I could always make money because I was a good salesman. I could sell anything, in my opinion. So I could always make money. But when I decided to start IRG with my then business partner, I should say, I remember going to my wife at the time, newly married, and saying, hey, I'm going to start this company, and we're going to bootstrap it. What's bootstrap? Well, we're going to use our own capital to do it because no one's going to believe in the shit we're doing because we're young kids. And she goes, all right, well, what are you going to make? I said, well, I'm not going to make shit. I'm not going to make any money. I make no money. My salary is zero. We don't have customers. So for 2 years, we just bought our first house. It was like, hey, man, like, you got to go out and grind it out. Like, I got bills to pay. I got shit to do. But no, Mai Tais are now Tais, right? Now I drink Mai Tais, actually bourbon. But it's not easy. So if you think that being an entrepreneur is easy, it's not. It's hard. It's a struggle. It's a struggle for your family. It's a struggle for your home life. It's a struggle for everything around you if you want to be successful, in my opinion. And I say this all the time. It's just an opinion of mine, but the people that I invest in, and we're at my new company, the LVE Group, I invest in the jockey. If someone comes up there and says, well, I kind of want to just take it. No. I need that individual, that man or that woman who says, I'm grinding it every single day. At night, everyone goes to bed. I'm working again.
I love that shit, man.
It's true.
So number one is it's got to be someone who's going to grind it out, right?
100%.
What's number two and number three? You're looking for someone who you're going to bet on.
Yeah.
And most people are betting on themselves.
Yeah.
Right. But when I watch a lot of these people, number one, they get a minus. They don't get a check because they're really not willing to grind it out.
Yep.
And even the ones that think they're grinding out, it's not grinding it out.
No.
It's like, 5:30, and they're like, I can get the hell out of here. I got to go home.
None of that. Look, when we look at investments at the LVE Group now, I also look at companies that say we found a white space. I think if you look at your company and Max Challenge, it's interesting. You went after a crowded market, right? No doubt. And you knew that. You know that. I mean, there's gyms everywhere. There's the Orange Theories. There's the big gyms. There's the small gyms, the boutique gyms. But you took a different approach, and we've had this conversation, and you said, well, no disrespect to any of them. Look, you respect everyone. New York Sports Club or Town Sports, all of them. Orange Theory, unbelievable what those guys have done. But you said, I'm going to take it a different route. I'm going to go in and I'm going to change it. I'm going to get the trainers in there. I'm going to get the music pumping. I'm going to get this. And it's all about the trainer. It's all about the owner. And I said, wow, this guy found a space, a white space within a very crowded space. And I think what people don't understand is I like white spaces where people have found something that's different. If someone said to me, I want to invest in a gym, and it's just like New York Sports Club, I'd be like, well, that's stupid. That's already been done. It's been proven. You found a white space within a white space that works for you. That's the second thing. And then the third thing is I like looking at businesses that I say to myself, this business could legitimately sell for a lot of money. There are businesses out there that people want me to get involved with, and I go, well, at the end of the day, you're not a 10, 20, 30, $40 million business. And oh, by the way, that's okay. Because if that's what you want to do with your life and you want to be $1 million, $2 million business, that's okay. I'm looking to come into a business, give them equity, provide them human capital, which is as important at the end of the day as any check that I'm writing, activate my network and blow up those businesses and sell them for a ton of money. I'm not looking to build a company. If someone says, I just want to build a legacy. I want to do this for the next 70 years. I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to come in, give you equity, real, physical, dry powder. I want to give you human capital, me, which is activating the out of my network. Like even when I did with Super Coffee with you, that's an investment I had. I said, you guys should talk. Like that's activating your network, and that's what I do at the LVE Group.
So basically you're a shy guy that's introverted, that has a bazillion great ideas, but you keep them to yourself, and that's kind of like holding you back from. But what I love about what you said about number two, finding that white space.
Sure.
I heard this analogy lately about the bloody ocean. You ever
Yes,
hear
of
the
course.
bloody ocean?
Yep.
And they talk about all the fishermen are going out into the ocean, the bloody ocean, where all the other fishermen are, because that's where all the fish are.
Yep.
But it's that one ship that has the courage to kind of go outside of the Red Sea into what they call the wide open
That's right.
blue ocean.
Yeah.
And basically, create his own, destiny by going where no other person is fishing.
Well, I mean, I get inspiration from different areas, right? And I get inspiration from athletes are easy to follow because you can look at athletes and say, oh my gosh, like LeBron James, like he's the greatest basketball player in the world right now, and you look at him and go, I marvel at that. Serena Williams on the tennis court, Michael Phelps in the pool. But when you talk about businesses, there's a great movie with Mark Wahlberg. What's the heck's the name of it? When they're on that ship and they all perish, but they need to feed their families, and he takes the ship out where everyone's going, and then they go, you know what? We're gonna go a little deeper, right? And they start catching crazy fish, and they're like, we're gonna feed our families forever because they're longshoremen and they need that. Now they perished, right? They died, but at the end of the day, they all on that boat made the decision to go out into a chartered, uncharted territory to get the fish. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, you got to be willing to do that. You got to be willing to say, I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone, and I don't care what anyone thinks. And I say this to people all the time. I really don't give a what anyone thinks about me. I'm like this at all times. I don't drink caffeine. I wake up like this, and most people generally like me. But the people who don't, I don't care. You can't worry about what other people think. You can't worry about what your friends think when you're successful. So right now, here's Bryan Klein, who opened his first Max Challenge, then he got his other, and he's franchised, now he's got 130. There are people out there that look at you and say, yeah, f him, man. Screw him and his success. You know what? Those aren't good friends. Those are nobody you need to be around. Surround yourself with good people and be positive, be true to yourself. And don't worry about what anybody says. Just be you. Go get to your 336. You know, if people are like, why isn't he comfortable with 133 or 150 or however many you have? Because you're not. Because you've got a goal and you're going to get there. I think that's what I tell most people. Like, don't worry about anything anybody else says.
I want to stand up and run through the brick wall over there for a second. So, greatest comeback story. Do you have any entrepreneurs that you personally know? Not like greatest comeback story in the world, but like real life entrepreneurial guy that didn't look like he's going to make it, but had an idea and turned something that was kind of into something that was amazing.
Well, I think what happens to a lot of people is in those first 2 or 3 years, and you know it, I know it, you weren't making any money. People thought you were crazy. I think what people need to realize is just because you're 2 or 3 years into a business and getting it going, you have to realize that you have to do this big word that's all in the entrepreneur's mind right now is pivoting, man. Like, I've known so many people who've got these kind of floundering type businesses, but they're hustling and they're grinding, and that aha moment goes off, and they're like, oh my God. If I pivot, Dan was sitting with me this morning. Dan who works on my team. He's my resident millennial, okay, like your resident millennial here at 24 to 21. And he came and he presented an idea to me, and I was like, it's a great idea, man. I think it's great for what we're doing at the LVE group. There are so many stories of people when they're 2 or 3 years and grinding and go, yo, like, I can't do it anymore. I'm like, if you believe in your dreams and you believe in 336, like, I love that you have a goal of 336, like, because I had goals in my head. I had a goal in my head to sell my business for X, and we sold it for more, but I said if I could ever sell it for X, I'm out. Because why? Take care of my family forever, pay for all my kids' college, take care of everything. They're good. And I had that goal, and we met that goal. And I assume you'll probably meet your goal and probably keep going because that's what we do. But I know tons of people who 2 or 3 years there in the business go, you know, this is great. What's my favorite movie? Glenn Ross, right?
Yeah.
Sales guy, you know. It's a tough racket, right? Yeah, it's hard. It's hard what we do. But
Stick
if you
to the
believe
business,
yourself,
by the way.
huh?
I don't know about the acting.
Yeah.
Stick to the business piece.
This guy's got great hair. I'm gonna say. No, look, pivoting happens all the time, man. You can't get. I mean, how many times in your business when you go?
Dude, the truth of it is like this whole thing was born out of an idea that started 30-something years ago.
Right,
the idea of the Max Challenge.
That's right,
Yeah.
right. And you
People call it an overnight success, but
there's
we
nothing.
talked about that.
Nothing
It's on
to
video.
it. There's no overnight
There's
success.
no overnight success.
No overnight
You
success.
know, all the skills, all of the perseverance, all of the freaking grinding it out.
Yep.
You know, the sleepless nights and being able to control your emotions and show up even when things aren't going exactly your way.
Listen, I have a good friend of mine. His name is Jerry South. He's the CEO of a company called Town Park. And this is a great story. I love this story. And this gives me the overnight success because someone said, well, you're an overnight success. He goes, yeah, 29 years in the making, right? Jerry South started parking cars at the Marriott. I'm screwing it up. It's not the Marriott. It's something down in Annapolis in 1987. And he went over, and a new hotel opened up, and he went over and said, hey, you know, maybe I can park cars for you. And they're like, hey, that seems innovative. Okay, so he started parking cars. They started parking cars, and they started a little team underneath him. Jerry South then grew a company called Town Park and sold it for $300 million. And I said, Jerry, how many cars did Town Park park last year? He goes, I don't know, 25 million. and you're like, damn, dude walked into the hotel and said, I'd like to be the guy parking cars for you in 1987. And he sold the business 30 years later for almost $300 million or whatever the number is. It was a gigantic number. And I'm like, that's what people have to take from when we're having this conversation. All it takes is an idea and a drive. And if you believe in yourself, you can absolutely friggin' do it.
That's awesome. Hey, beyond believing in yourself, do you think people, that the money makes the people happy, or the people, entrepreneurs are by nature, you know, driven, somewhat happy but not content? Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
You know, like so many people, like franchisees, they'll say to me, they'll go, yeah, when I hit this number, I'll be happy. When I'm taking home this amount, I'll be happy. To me, it just makes no sense.
Not a true entrepreneur.
I freaking love what I'm doing. Like, I wake up every day, making money, not making money. I'm a pretty happy guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, you know, again, and I'm not knocking anybody. But that true entrepreneur is that person, that man or that woman who's just never content. And look, that can be really a struggle in your personal life without question. And it can be in mine to some degree. But it's like, I'm just never content with being whatever I am. It's like that franchisor who buys three Maxes from me and says, if I'm making, you know, a couple $100,000, I'm good. I don't know, man. If I'm making 3 and making a couple $100,000, I'm going, I want 6.
Yeah.
I want 9.
Yeah.
I want 12. I want to be Klein's partner.
Yeah.
Like, that's what,
I love that.
Those are the true.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, I'm not, again, I say this all the time. I don't knock. I wanted to do a TED Talk on this in Asbury, and we were going to do it, and then we talked to the people in Asbury, and it really didn't fit, but I'll say it here with you. I look at people, and I don't knock anyone, because my father was an FBI agent, and he drove into Manhattan for 20 years. Drove his car in, drove out. Miserable, right? I mean, loved his job, but the drive.
Yeah.
Coming home, you'd come home, we had one TV, right? I mean, we were kids. There was, you know, what do you have? I have 2 homes with like 15 TVs now, which my kids don't watch. They just watch their phones. But I had one TV, and when he'd get home at 8 o'clock at night, he'd be pissed off because he just drove home from the city for an hour and a half. He'd be like, I'm watching what I want. You'd have to watch whatever you watch, which was like Gunsmoke, right? I always look at people and say, man, if you've got a passion, something you want to do, is it driving into Manhattan, doing that thing every day? That same thing? We did this the other day, and we said, if you're going into Manhattan, and it's taking, you know, really an hour and a half, 2 hours coming from where we live here. It's 3 to 4 hours a day. It's 5 days a week. You start doing that, I'm like, we did the math. It was like you're losing 20 years off your life, man. Like, if you've got an idea and a passion, start the business, man. Start it. Start it in your house. Where'd you start your business? Home. You didn't have an office immediately, right? Where?
Nah.
Hell no. You got a beautiful office here. Was this your first
I'll
office?
tell you a funny story about that. So our first office for this business was in the back of the first Max Challenge, right? But it was an old CVS.
Okay.
So remember in the old CVSs how the pharmacist would kind of, or the manager would sit up in this like booth?
Yeah, he was like higher than everybody else, right?
Exactly,
Yes.
So he could see what's going on. Keep his eye on everything.
Yes.
So we turned that into the little office. It was tiny. It was the size of it was probably twice the size of the freaking table.
Right.
6 people in there.
Right.
Six
people
people.
breathing on each other all day.
So the guy from the bank calls me, you know, we're talking to the guy at the bank, like, he's like, I'd love to come down and see your business. I go, no problem at all, but I'd love to come to your branch and actually sit down in your office. He goes, I insist, I want to get to know my customers. I want to see your office, meet all your people, this and that. I said, no problem, man. You come, I'll give you the address. It's 300 Gordon's Corner Road, and when you get there, you'll see the sign. Come straight to the back of the building. It's a freaking gym, right? And I said, go up the steps. We have the entire second floor.
Yeah.
So, but it was the second floor of the where the CVS guys sat. Right. So he goes up 3 steps. He comes in. There's like 6 gigantic sweaty guys in there because they're all like big, hairy, sweaty guys. And I'm like, this is it. We have the entire second floor, just like I explained.
Just like I explained.
But I'll tell you what, the guy loved it. The guy loved it because he loved to see that what he saw was passionate people who were grinding it, and whatever it took, we didn't give a shit that like our sweaty bodies when our elbows it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
Well, he believed in you. He believed in what you said. When people always ask this question to me, when I started IRG, it was a bootstrap company in 2004, and the first customer we got was a company called The Fitness Company. Okay, it was 14 gyms here in Central Jersey. It's no longer around. And the guy's name was Mike Neff. And I remember walking in with my Gabe Martinez, who was basically one of my business partners, and there was 3 of us. And we walked in, and Gabe goes, what are you going to say, man? We have no customers. And look, you know this, because an entrepreneur, mean, there's that immediate, because people always go, what do you do when you have no customers and you have no money? So I knew we had a good idea, and I walked in, and it's Mike Neff. I'll never forget this, and I still love Mike Neff to pieces. Mike Neff goes, well, do you have any customers? I'm like, well, no, we don't have any customers. He's like, but do you have any money? I'm like, well, no, we don't have any money either. He's like, wow, geez, this sounds like a really good company here. I'm like, but we got a great idea, and this is what we're putting together, and we want to do this for you. And I was just honest, and I think that's something I always stress to people. Just be honest. Don't bullshit people. And I thought about bullshit a little bit, because I'm probably pretty good at it. And he goes, you know what? I trust you. I believe in you. I'm going to give you my 14 gyms. And that was it, man. And it was like, hey, man, like, let's go. Like, entrepreneurs struggle with that question of, I spoke at Montclair State the other day, and I got a question about that. And it was like, listen, don't worry about it. Just be you, be honest. If you believe in the Max Challenge, if you believe in the LVE group, if you believe in IRG or whoever that is, insert your name here, you got a shot, man. You got a shot. Just be true and be honest to yourself. But I remember those days. And even at IRG, this is great. Everyone, we didn't have an office. I grew the company completely virtually. $60 million company, we grew it completely virtually. But I did start getting people saying, we'd like to come see the four walls and the, you know. So, I've said this before, I don't care. We got an office, a Regus, R-E-G-U-S office, you know, one of these shared spaces, kind of like WeWork now, in Bethesda. We got one office. It was just like a tiny little office. We had access to
It's like a room in someone else's office building.
100%. Yeah. Somebody said they want to come see us. I said, no problem, here's my office, come on in. We had a beautiful conference room, we had a kitchen, it was a Regis space, had our name on this, had our name outside. I assure you, in the 9.5 years that I had that business before I sold it, I went to that office 2 times. And when we sold it, the company who bought us was like, well, what are we gonna do with that office? I'm like, I don't give a shit, I've been there in 7 years. We walked in, it's coated with just. But like, again, you can do anything you want. And I was able to successfully build a business virtually and sell it without an office space. And it's true. I mean, whether it's your story with the 6 sweaty guys sitting around and the CVS perched up, or me having a Regis space because one guy wanted to see an office, I'm like, come on in, it's beautiful. People were like, who the f are you? Like, I walked in like 3 times, like, you have an office here? No one's in that office.
And you can't even pay attention to the people that tell you otherwise. It's like, you got just more. I remember my attorney one day, you know, all excited. He's like, you're doing great. There's so many franchises opening up all over the places. You got to get an office. So for a second, literally for a split second, he threw me off. And in that second, I gave him the space. He goes, how many franchises do you think you're going to sell, for God's sakes, out of Starbucks? And so I paused for another second, and then I go, how many franchises are we going to sell out of Starbucks?
That's right. That's the entrepreneur.
And that's the difference.
Right, of course.
That's the difference. Because most people say, well, you know, it's time. It's time for us to get an office. I mean, they had to drag me out of that place.
That was your spot. You were
They had to drag us out. Even in this building now, we're doubling up in offices.
Yeah.
Soon we're going to be tripling up.
Yeah.
We're going to put a little second floor.
There's going to be a bar in the back, so we got to have a cocktail out. Did I say that out loud? Yeah. Okay. No, good. So
you didn't see the bar?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No. Dan was over there. He was drinking milk. He's young. Warm milk. Both these two. What else?
What else? I mean, we're both bald.
Yeah, we're both bald.
Just in case anybody didn't notice that or didn't hear it at the beginning.
I will say something, you know, I love this, right?
Don't forget that your son's name is Max.
That's right, Maximilian, the greatest in Latin. And Mackenzie and Scarlett, right? I think that what's interesting about your business and what was interesting about my business and what's interesting about the businesses I invest in is this. I love investing in product companies where I can actually see it on shelves and I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, we walked into Wegmans, we're like, oh my God, it's like sold out. This is great. You know, you call the CEO, it's sold out over here. The beautiful thing about Max Challenge and even IRG when I had it was we put in network security for retailers. Not glamorous stuff, but it was very important stuff. But I could go into the mall and I could look at the directory, you know, when you go into a mall and you'd be like, oh, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. I'm making $1 here, $2 here, $3 here, $4 here. And I could look at it. The beauty of your business too is that you could be driving down the highway and be like, hey, there's a Max Challenge. I mean, there's something to that. It's an
awesome feeling.
It is a great feeling. Yeah. Every time a new one opens or every time you drive by one.
Or even, you know, traveling and down the road in another state where you don't expect to see it and all of a sudden like, oh, there's that bumper sticker.
Right.
It's not a bumper, it's magnet.
That
Max Challenge magnet.
I said to, I don't know if I introduced you to her, so Holly Migliaccio is one of the CEOs of Rook. right? And Rook's a cult following here in our county of Monmouth. They just opened one in Ocean. I am not an investor, but I've told Holly a million times I want to invest. You see, yeah, keep that back there. Holly, when we sat with her, I said, Holly and Sean, they're both co-CEOs, and in this
it's an awesome brand.
They're killing it, right?
Yeah.
There's 13 of them. They also opened their 13th in Point Pleasant, first entrance in Ocean County. And I want to invest. I want Don Duskowski of IFPG. We want to franchise the hell out of it, right? But give him a little.
There's no way that he's going to watch it too.
Yeah.
We're like 20 minutes in.
Shameless plug for Donnie D.
We'll just tell him. Mark this so we can tell Don. Yeah. Just forward to 20 minutes.
At 21, 30 seconds. And Holly said, "You know what I want to be?" She said, "I just want to be the greatest coffee brand in Central Jersey," like something to that effect. I'm like, you know what? That's what you want. Go after it, and you're doing it, and you're killing it. I mean, I've sat with her and Sean on multiple occasions, and I'm just like, yo, it's a cult in Monmouth. I mean,
it's definitely a cult. I'm a member of their tribe. I mean, I buy that every day.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Right.
But you know what's even more amazing about it? Like, talking about a crowded space. They opened up in Manalapan next to freaking Starbucks. They opened up in Red Bank,
right.
literally next to Starbucks. And you're driving by before you know what Rook is, and you're like, who in their right mind would do this? Like, why would I try this coffee when I'm already addicted to this one over here?
But you know what? You know what they've done? And look, successful entrepreneurs do this, because you've done it, and I'll do the correlation here. They know the lane that they drive in. They're coffee, right? There's no tea, it's friggin' coffee. You know the lane you drive in, right? You're not New York Sports Club, and you never are going to be, and you never want to be. And again, not a knock on those guys. It's not a knock on Orange. You know your lane that you drive in. You're not trying to get outside of that lane. There's no frill. This is what we do at Max Challenge. You know what we do at Rook? We serve great coffee. I think many entrepreneurs, we've sat with so many companies, we invest in a lot of them, and they're just, here, I'm like, oh, hey, oh. Right here's your lane.
You chase two rabbits and you don't catch either.
That's right. You're chasing one rabbit. You know the rabbit that you need to chase. Holly and Sean know the rabbit they need to chase at Rook. I knew what I needed to chase at IRG, and I know what I need to chase.
Biggest freaking distraction for a franchisee. I tell them all the time that, you're making a little bit of money over here because you're not doing that great of a job executing. You got to be good at one thing, but not really. You have to be freaking the best in the freaking world at that one thing. So when it comes to fitness, nutrition, and motivation combined to help people make great changes, you got to be the best in the world.
Absolutely.
And but the way their mind works is, instead of just thinking they're going to make a little bit of money over here, instead of thinking just do a home run and just kill it in this one thing, they go make a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. It's going to add up to a whole lot. But it ends up adding up to a whole lot because you don't really get excellent or known for being the best at that one thing.
Focus. Look, Vaynerchuk, who I've got to know a little bit, I mean, personally, he has said this a million times. Focus you know what you're good at. I know what I was good at. I know what I wasn't good at, right? I mean, people think I get this big ego. I'm like, oh, Christ, I know what I'm really good at, but I know what I'm really not good at. You focus 95% of your time on what you're really, really good at. And then find great people around you, which I'm sure you've surrounded yourself with this staff, who are great at the things that you're not really good at. And you plug those places up with those people. I'm sure sitting here with him, you could never run this podcast. You would not have run a camera. Nah. It's not your thing.
I don't even know how to use the phone.
Right, me neither. Dan will attribute that. I don't know. I just turn it off and
off.
Is that
what Dan?
That's what Dan does. He turns my phone on and off. Thank you, Dan. No, but you surround yourself with people who like those areas. I remember meeting a woman who, when I sold the business, I never forget it. She said, she came into a meeting. I'd sold the company, and she was the contract person at the new company, and she goes, I love reading contracts. I love them. And I'm like, you sound sick and demented. But that was her. And she was really good at it because that's what she loved to do. Find those people, plug them in. You're going to start a business. You're going to wear all the hats. Like to a budding entrepreneur, you have to wear every hat. You wore every hat. You were the billing guy. You were the sales guy. You were everything. You did all that. And you were probably not good at some of it. So as you started to get larger, you started to fill those voids with the perfect billing person, the perfect contractual, get a great lawyer. But in the beginning, you're everything. You were the lawyer. How many contracts I read for the first 4 years, when finally Joe, my business partner, goes, hey man, like, I think I know you're our counsel, but you're not a lawyer, man. Like, you're going to get, but remember how many contracts did you read early on?
Early on, yeah.
I mean, when you were going out and you were
I just pretended to read them.
Yeah, of course. You're like, oh, that seems good, right?
So were you a good student in school?
So I was a pretty good student. I went to Madawan High School, which is right down the block here. Blue collar town, great town, love it. Wear it on my sleeve. They're the best. But I was a good student. I went to college and I was a good student. But I was a good student in college because my parents were paying for school, and I respected the shit out of my parents. My father was in law enforcement. My mother was a teacher. I went to the University of Maryland. I'm on the board there. I love the University of Maryland as well. I'm on the board at my high school as well. And I just remember thinking, they're paying all this money to send me to this school. And I probably could have done a little better, but man, I was like, I'm going to give them good grades. I'm going to do well in school because that's a lot of money. And I know that they saved up all their money to make that happen. It was, I remember growing up, we always had everything we needed, no doubt about it, right? But like, to my parents' credit, and when we were kids, we're similar in age, the kid would ride in his shiny new BMX and I'd have a Huffy, right? You know what? Because my parents were looking past that and they were saying to themselves, the $200 I didn't spend on the BMX red line or whatever, and I got the Huffy from Sears, I'm gonna put that towards this college. And I always remember that. And I still to this day remember that. And I said, I'm gonna put my best effort, close to my best, I partied a lot, but close to my best effort in college. So I was a pretty good student. I was pretty good. You?
Me? Was I a good student?
Yeah.
Depends who's watching. No. I wasn't really actually the best of students.
Where'd you go to high school?
Where'd I go to high school? I went to Marlboro High School.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Marlboro,
graduated Marlboro, right down the street.
Yep.
We were probably rival high schools back then. Not really. It was Marlboro versus Manalapan.
Yeah, we'd kick your ass.
And so, we probably wanted to not, venture.
You were better
off
in tennis.
tennis.
We were better in
maybe
football.
golf. Maybe golf. Golf was just coming around to be something. There was actually, high school golf.
Yes,
teams.
we definitely didn't have high school golf.
Maybe it was chess.
Chess.
We probably kicked your ass in chess.
Definitely smarter chess guy. But then did you go to college?
We're probably going to have to cut this out.
That's good. That's the beauty of
That'll
editing.
never happen.
Did you go to college?
I did go to
Where'd you go to
college.
school?
I went to Monmouth College.
You went to Monmouth. You graduated.
I graduated from college.
Just kind of.
Yeah, I took like the 7, 8, 9 year path. But I'll tell you exactly why.
Yeah, good.
Because I had a burning desire to be an entrepreneur.
You did.
I did.
You're how old?
I am going to be 50.
Okay, so this was when entrepreneur. When someone said that wasn't cool then. Now it's like super cool to be an entrepreneur. But
oh yeah. No, if you want to like totally freak your parents out, become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It would, So yeah. So while I was in college, I started my own. I started my first business.
Yep. What was it?
It was a martial arts studio.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it grew rather quickly. And it went from 1 to 2 to 3, and then we had our own little chain going.
Little dojo, your own dojo.
Yeah, it was like the Karate Kid. It was when the Karate Kid first came out. So
it was like fear does not exist in this dojo.
Does it?
Sensei.
No, yeah. You'd make a good.
I could. I was thinking.
Yeah. Wait, what was his name? The bad guy. The bad guy.
Oh, his real name is it was Johnny. Johnny was his name, but his real name is Billy. You know it. I'm so into movies.
It's coming back too on YouTube.
On YouTube. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah. Fear.
Yeah, but I think the big thing with school now is making a connection between what you really want to do with yourself and the work that's going on in school.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
100%.
100%. Yeah.
What else? What else we got on this podcast?
What else?
I mean, you sitting over there, you're going, he's going, I'm quitting this job. I'm starting my own company, right? Start working out. Both you two. You guys be Max Challenge later today. We should film these two. Drop.
I don't know. He looks like he's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. He's skinny. He's just
kids these days.
He eats anything he wants.
Kids these days.
Steak and lobster and lobster bisque and takes it down.
Let's do this. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
So, last minute advice for all these people out there that are looking to start their own businesses, do something absolutely amazing, follow their passion, young and old.
Here's what I say to young people. I say this all the time. A lot of people are 21 years old, 20 years old, coming out of college or workforce or whatever, and they're young and they say to themselves, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, that's awesome. What do you want to do? And they go, I don't know. And I go, so get a job and figure it out. Meaning, I could not, you came out wanting to be an entrepreneur. That wasn't me when I was 21 years old. I needed to get my feet wet. Dan likes to say when I say get my sea legs. I needed 6 years of the corporate kind of world. I came out in the dot-com boom. I learned that a little bit. I learned about that, what to do and what not to do. And I went to a big corporate company, multi-billion-dollar company, learned what to do and what not to do. And it took me 6 years before I was really ready to go, you know what? I'm going to go do something on my own. I needed that time. You may not have. I did. And I think a lot of kids think that I got to start a company right now. It's like, dude, it's okay. It's okay to get your sea legs and go work for a company. All right? You might be I was too green at the time. I was green. I was too green when I was 21, 22, 23, 24. But you know what I was doing? I was learning. I was learning constantly, mostly learning what not to do, right? I think that's what happens a lot of times in big companies. And it's not a knock on corporate America. It is a knock on corporate America to say, I learned a lot what not to do, help me grow my business, right? So I would say it's okay to do that. If you have an idea and you have a dream and you have a drive and you have a purpose and you have supportive people around you and you needed supportive people around you, as we all do. I mean, I couldn't have done it without my family around me. Go do it, man. Give it a shot. Because you know what? You always regret it. You'll always regret it. You'll be 55 years old and you'll say to yourself, damn it, I had a chance to take a shot. Take a shot. It's okay. You know what? Worst case scenario, you jump in there for 2 years and it doesn't work out. Go back to doing what you're doing. It's the greatest thing. It's exhilarating. And to your point, I wake up, certainly when I had IRG and now that I have the LVE group, I love it. I love every day of it. It's like I used to I'd work all day because it was awesome. Because I loved what I did. I loved my employees. I loved my customers. I treated them right. I treated everybody right. I ran a tight ship. I got in before everyone. And the first email of the day was me. The last email of the day was me. Because I wanted people to see that I worked just as hard. Even after we sold the business, people said, what happened the day after you sold the business in 2013? I went from doing well to doing really well, right? And watching the wire hit. You know, you're sitting there watching, you're refreshing the click on the Bank of America screen, waiting for the wire to hit, right? It hits.
That's awesome.
August 15th, 2013, my daughter's first birthday, of my 3 kids. And August 16th, it was a Thursday, I woke up, I went to work, 6 o'clock in the morning, same thing. I text my business partner, I am my business partner, Joe. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm working. I know, that's all we do. That's what we do. Like, I was working the next day. There was no, there was a brief celebration, but it was like, hey, these guys just paid a ton of money. I want to show them that we're worth it. Like, boom. That's what an entrepreneur is, in my opinion.
One more thing, though.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
Send it home with, what about that 40-year-old guy? You know,
He's got a family. He's got 3 kids.
Yeah, and he wants it more than anything. He could fund it, right? He could fund it, but
that security.
Do you live the rest of your life? Do you live 20 more years and then look back and say only if?
So, I'm going to give an answer that a lot of people don't think I would give here, and I know Dan knows what the answer is going to be. If I was 40 years old, and let's say I was in corporate America and doing really, really well, even really well, and I'm making 6 figures, whatever, and I had 3 kids, which I do. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if, I'm just being honest. I don't know if I could say, you know what? We're downsizing houses. We're moving into a 2-bedroom apartment because Daddy's got a great idea and he wants to get after it. And you guys all get on board and believe in me. I don't know if I could do that. So if I'm being completely honest, I'm just being honest, I don't know. And I'm an entrepreneur. And it sounds like people probably think this guy's going to jump in head first into anything he thinks he can make happen. I don't know if I could do it. However, if you truly believe in your idea and you've got a wife or a spouse or a partner and kids and everyone that's behind you, then and if you believe that you could go out and do it, and if it fails, you could get back into what you were doing, it's okay to take a shot and take some of that capital and get after it, especially if you're, look, I say this to every single person in college. They say, well, I don't know what I want to do in my life. And I say this all the time. I say, try sales out. First job coming out of school, I don't give a shit what it is, technology sales, whatever, figure it out. Because if you can be a salesperson, if you can have that, if you're a sales guy, salesperson, saleswoman, dude, you have a job for the rest of your life.
Sure.
Because I can sell this, that, TVs, it doesn't matter. It's all the same shit when you really peel it back. Try a sales job coming out of school, because then you've got a career. And I always knew when I was 27 years old, when I started IRG, I said, man, if this doesn't work out and I make no money and it fails, it falls flat, I can get a job in sales 100%. So, that would be my advice. Good?
Awesome.
Fair?
I think it's fair.
Yeah, I'm just being honest.
It's fair. It's great advice.
Good.
I read this book lately, a couple days ago. The guy said extreme effort, double E, plus extreme faith, like faith in yourself,
Yep.
faith in your concept, faith in your idea, equals outstanding results.
Perfect.
And if you leave any of those out,
Yep.
NG, no good.
Totally
Thing is
agree.
going to fall apart.
Totally agree.
So I want to end it on that because I think
I love it.
these people have heard it all. right?
Absolutely, man.
A lot of good stuff coming at them.
Always good, man. Congratulations on all your success too, man. Always good seeing you, brother.